Had there been these horrible things, and had there been these horrible text messages, had there been this horrible information.
Blake Lively accused. It ends with us co-star Justin Baldoni.
It ends with us in court. Blake Lively is suing her co-star and director Justin Baldoni, accusing harassment on the set of these. It ends with us.
In one breath, Blake Lively is saying she was the subject of serious during the filming of It Ends With Us, and now they're making light of it.
And I think that the Justin and Blake stuff is, I think it's a big PR game, and I think that we're all the pawns of it.
Ryan Reynolds is no stranger to Hollywood drama, but this time, it's not a Deadpool-style punchline. The rumors are flying, the tension is thick, and now Marvel fans are left questioning everything. Could the man who brought the Merc with a mouth to life actually be out of the franchise? And if so, what does this mean for the future of Deadpool? It all started with Blake Lively's legal battle against Justin Baldoni, her co-star and director for the film adaptation of It Ends With Us. What should have been just another behind-the-scenes dispute turned into a full-blown Hollywood spectacle when Baldoni accused Lively of meddling with key production decisions, rewriting parts of the script, influencing casting choices, and pushing her own creative vision. But here's where things take a sharp turn. Evidence suggests Ryan Reynolds was not just watching from the sidelines. He was actively involved, allegedly stepping in to back up his wife and sway decisions in her favor. Now in Hollywood, power plays like this aren't uncommon, but when they start bleeding into major franchises, things get messy. And that's exactly what seems to have happened here. The whispers are growing louder that Reynolds' deep involvement in this dispute didn't sit well with some higher-ups at Marvel. The studio has built its empire on structure and control. One wrong move, one internal shakeup, and suddenly, an actor's future isn't as secure as it once seemed. So what does this mean for Deadpool 3? And more importantly, how are Reynolds' Marvel co-stars reacting to all of this? Let's get into it. The image of Ryan Reynolds that fans know, the witty, charming, effortlessly cool guy, is now clashing with a much different narrative behind the scenes. Reports are surfacing that paint him in a far more intense light. According to Justin Baldoni, Reynolds wasn't just a supportive husband standing by Blake Lively, he was actively confronting Baldoni, and those conversations allegedly got heated. Some insiders claim these weren't just simple disagreements, but full-blown arguments, both in person and through various communications. And let's just say, the tone of these exchanges was far from the Deadpool-esque humor everyone's used to. Now, here's where things start to spiral. Marvel Studios is known for its secrecy. It runs its universe like a well-oiled machine.
Well, I actually knew of the film before I knew of Colleen's book, which is, so I know a unique entry point, but I think because I just have 1,000 children, I, have missed all of pop culture, and her significant impact in the world of books. I mean, so many of her books are on the New York Times bestseller. I mean, it's crazy.
And leaks are a big deal, but whispers are growing that Reynolds may have gotten too reckless in his efforts to defend Blake. Some say he let slip confidential details about Deadpool 3 and possibly even the character's future in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And if there's one thing Marvel doesn't tolerate, it's leaks that could mess with their billion-dollar plans. If this speculation turns out to be true, Reynolds may have just landed himself in some serious trouble with the studio. This isn't just about bad press, it's about trust. And if Marvel execs feel he's a liability, his role as Deadpool could be at risk. Fans have waited years for his return, but now, the fate of Deadpool 3 and Reynolds' entire future with the franchise might be hanging by a thread. And his Marvel co-stars, they're watching all of this unfold. Some are speaking out, others are staying silent, but the reaction within the Marvel circle says a lot. Let's go deeper. This isn't the first time Ryan Reynolds has found himself at the center of controversy. As the tension surrounding his alleged involvement in Blake Lively's legal battle intensifies, old stories about his behavior in Hollywood are starting to resurface. And let's just say, the picture being painted isn't exactly flattering. One name that keeps coming up, T.J. Miller. Fans of Deadpool will remember him as Weasel, the sarcastic bartender who played off Reynolds' quick-witted humor. But off-screen, their dynamic wasn't nearly as fun. Miller has openly talked about his past experiences with Reynolds, claiming that things took a turn after the first Deadpool became a massive success. According to Miller, Reynolds' attitude changed, his humor started feeling personal, and some of his remarks crossed the line into unprofessional territory. Now, to be fair, Miller later walked back some of his statements.
I'm honored, and I'm also more honored that because, what we're talking about is so important and so meaningful, that we're able to have this much anticipation and so many people want to go see it and are talking about it. Like, that's what I'm grateful for.
And you had a key part in bringing it to the big screen. How did this all come to be?
Well, in 2019, I read the book. I was sent the book by my book agent and friend at the time, and I was looking for films that could inspire, that were commercially viable, but also could really like reach in and touch someone's heart.
Saying he didn't think Reynolds was a bad guy, just that they didn't get along. This isn't an isolated incident anymore. With fresh allegations of behind-the-scenes clashes and reports of heated confrontations with Baldoni, a pattern is beginning to emerge. And Hollywood, it has a long memory. The entertainment industry thrives on relationships and reputations stick. If more people start stepping forward with similar claims, Reynolds might find himself in an even tougher spot. Studios like Marvel value professionalism above all else. If they start seeing him as difficult to work with, the consequences could be far bigger than just Deadpool 3. But the real question is, what do his Marvel co-stars think about all of this? Are they standing by him, or are they keeping their distance? The answers might surprise you. Let's get into it. Ryan Reynolds isn't just a Hollywood star, he's a brand. Over the years, he's built an empire that extends far beyond movies, turning himself into a powerhouse businessman with investments that have made headlines. From aviation American Gin to co-owning Wrexham AFC, he's mastered the art of blending celebrity with entrepreneurship. But here's the problem. When controversy hits, it doesn't just affect one part of a career, it spreads. And right now, the ripple effect is starting to look real. Big brands thrive on goodwill. People don't just buy aviation gin because it tastes great. They buy it because they like Reynolds. They support Wrexham because they love the underdog story he and Rob McElhenney have built. His humor, his charm, his carefully cultivated image. It's all part of what makes his ventures so successful. But if that image starts cracking, if the narrative around him shifts from beloved Hollywood funny man to difficult, reckless, or unprofessional, that's when things get dangerous. Brand endorsements, sponsorships, and corporate deals aren't just about money, they're about reputation. Companies don't want to be associated with controversy. And while Reynolds has walked the line between edgy and marketable perfectly up until now, this situation feels different. If Marvel truly distances itself from him, it could send a message to other business partners that he's no longer a safe bet. And then there's fan engagement. Reynolds' entire business model thrives on his connection with the public. If people start to see him in a different light, if the trust wavers even a little, the impact could hit more than just his acting career. It could spill into every aspect of his empire. So the question is, does Reynolds have a plan to contain the damage? Or is this controversy about to spiral into something even bigger? Let's talk about what happens next. The legal battle between Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni is heating up fast.
And being frank, if it were not for women giving me direct feedback in my own personal life and being a man who was willing to at least listen to them, there's no chance that I would be having this conversation. So the message, to answer your question, the message is very simple. As men, we need to embrace all of the parts of us that make us human. That's it. It's very simple.
What started as behind-the-scenes tension on a film set has now exploded into full-scale courtroom drama. And with subpoenas flying, legal teams digging through phone records, text messages, and emails, this fight is only getting uglier. Both sides are playing hardball. Each camp is accusing the other of twisting the media narrative to gain public sympathy. And at the center of it all, Ryan Reynolds. His role in this controversy is no longer just speculation. Insiders claim he and Blake used their influence to push Baldoni out of key decisions, reshaping the film to fit their vision. And the whispers are getting louder. Some sources have even gone as far as to label them a power couple of bullies. That's a strong accusation, and if it gains traction, it could be disastrous for Reynolds. Hollywood thrives on relationships, and while power can open doors, it can also backfire, especially if people start believing that Reynolds and Lively are the kind of stars who strong-arm their way into control. And Marvel, you better believe they're watching this play out. A legal battle like this isn't just bad press, it's a potential liability. Studios don't want their biggest stars embroiled in messy courtroom disputes, especially when there's a risk that private conversations and business dealings could be exposed. If this case drags on and the controversy deepens, Marvel might decide it's easier to cut ties than deal with the fallout. So where does this leave Reynolds? His name, his career, even his future as Deadpool. It's all hanging in the balance. But what's next? Is there a way out of this mess? Or has the damage already been done? Let's break it down. This is where things start getting really complicated. If Marvel decides that Ryan Reynolds is more trouble than he's worth, the fallout could be massive. Not just for him, but for the entire Deadpool franchise. And let's be real, that's a big deal. Fans have been waiting years for Deadpool 3. The hype is real, and Reynolds has been the driving force behind its success. His razor-sharp comedic style, his perfect balance of action and irreverence, it's what makes Deadpool work. But if Marvel decides to cut ties?
But I was like just tracking him down, and then I finally got to read the script, and the script was a thriller. So that was a little confusing to me because he's like such a funny director.
Yeah.
And so I said, what is this? Because the script is definitely like a twisting, turning, intense thriller. Is it a comedy or a thriller? And he said, yes. So then every day on set, I was like, is today a comedy or is it a thriller?
It's a good mix
and
of
it's
both.
like, it's like really kind of over the top and campy and trashy and fun and like, kind of like my outfit, I guess.
Everything changes. We're talking potential delays, rewrites, and even the unthinkable recasting. And that's where things get really tricky. Because, let's be honest, can anyone else really play Deadpool? The character is so deeply tied to Reynolds' personality that removing him wouldn't just mean swapping actors. It would mean fundamentally changing the DNA of the franchise. Marvel has recast roles before, sure, but replacing the face of Deadpool? That's a whole different level of risky. And here's the nightmare scenario. What if this controversy doesn't stop here? If more allegations start surfacing, if past co-stars or industry insiders come forward with more stories about difficult behavior, it could put Reynolds' entire Hollywood career in jeopardy. The entertainment industry can be unforgiving. One scandal is bad enough, but if the narrative starts turning against him in a big way, it could affect everything. His movie deals, his endorsements, even his ability to get future projects off the ground. At this point, it's a waiting game. Marvel hasn't made any public moves yet, but behind closed doors, they're having those conversations. The question is, will Reynolds be able to weather this storm? Or is this the beginning of the end for his time in the MCU? There's only one way to find out. Social media is a battlefield right now, and Ryan Reynolds is caught right in the middle. Fans are completely divided. Some are rallying behind him, defending his actions as nothing more than a husband standing up for his wife. Others, not so much. For every fan calling this controversy overblown, there's another questioning his professionalism. The Marvel leak rumors are a big sticking point. If Reynolds really did spill confidential details about Deadpool 3, that's not just a minor slip-up, it's a breach of trust. And in an industry where secrecy is everything, that's the kind of mistake that could cost him dearly. Then there's the issue of his alleged confrontations with Justin Baldoni. Some people see it as passionate support for Blake.
We always tease each other. He was, after I gave birth, he was like, oh my gosh, if I lost you and I, went to the park with our 3 kids, think of the ladies I can. This is a horrible thing to say. And he's like, I've got a long list. And I was like, oh, really? Because I just have one on my list.
Oh.
I don't have anyone on my list.
And then it wasn't funny anymore.
No, it's so much more of a burn. He's like, wait, who? And I was like, think of someone. Think of someone. Bob Newhart. I don't know.
While others view it as aggressive, unnecessary meddling. And let's be honest, once the internet latches onto a narrative, it spreads fast. Meanwhile, the media isn't slowing down. Every day, new headlines dissect the drama, new insiders offer their takes, and fresh rumors keep surfacing. The longer this drags on, the harder it's going to be for Reynolds to control the story. And here's the thing, Hollywood doesn't just care about talent, it cares about public perception. If the tide starts turning against Reynolds in a big way, studios will notice, Marvel will notice, and once that happens, even the most loyal fans might not be able to save him. So what happens next? Can Reynolds turn this around before it's too late? Or is this controversy about to reshape his career forever? Let's talk about the possible outcomes. Right now, Ryan Reynolds is standing at a crossroads. This controversy, no matter how it ultimately plays out, has already left its mark. His reputation has taken a hit. His standing with Marvel is in question, and even his business empire could feel the ripple effects. Whether he likes it or not, Hollywood is watching. So what happens next? That depends entirely on how Reynolds handles the situation. If he steps forward with a carefully crafted response, one that addresses the concerns without fanning the flames, he might be able to regain control of the narrative. A transparent, strategic statement could help repair his image before things spiral any further. But if he stays silent, if the legal battle keeps escalating, that's when things get dangerous. Because in Hollywood, perception is everything. Studios don't like uncertainty.
The idea that people think that they know you, I think because of how intrusive media is these days, people care so much more about your personal life than they do your work, and if you aren't open with your personal life, then they just make it up for you and share it for you.
Business partners don't like risk, and if the public starts seeing Reynolds as a liability rather than an asset, the long-term consequences could be huge. His future with Marvel, his ventures outside of acting, even his ability to secure major roles moving forward, it's all on the line. So now we wait. Will Reynolds emerge from this unscathed, proving that his charm and influence are enough to weather the storm? Or is this the beginning of a major career downfall? Let me know what you think. Will Reynolds bounce back? Or is his time in the spotlight running out? Drop a comment below and let's talk about it.